Start off with solid track position and shot at stage points. So feel good about that. Obviously, our cars have the speed. Track's gonna be pretty tricky, just with the temperature, and I feel like the track's gonna change a lot between after the truck race and really even throughout our race. It moved around a lot last year, more than I would have ever expected. So got to keep up with that. Try and come up with a game plan for tomorrow, but so far, solid start.
Sort of irrelevant now, but I know your sports car racing background, and you got Sonoma coming up. Just is that one of the ones you have highlighted on your schedule? What are you thinking for Sonoma?
Yeah, as we head into an off week coming up, I mean, there's two really great opportunity races I think for us. Obviously, had a top 5 at Sonoma last year, and had a really strong weekend with all 3 of our cars, at Gateway last year as well. So two really good weekends for us to kind of get things on track and rolling and get some momentum.
Does your racing background kind of complement Sonoma? As you saw with Coda, you were very strong in the early rounds and early race. So do you feel like that expertise is kind of going to benefit you?
Yeah, I'd say yes and no. I'd say Sonoma's one of those ones that there's guys that I'm racing that have been there a lot more than I have, especially in the Cup Series. So I felt like with that layout as well, it was the first time I really ran the NASCAR layout at that place. Pretty different, but it's fun nonetheless. I do have some demons at that racetrack I would like to overcome at some point, back racing Johnny O'Connell and the SCACA stuff. So it'd be really cool to get a win there for that.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you.
Austin, I wanted to ask you about Chicago. Two-part question. First, just the idea of NASCAR doing what a lot of other circuits have done, coming to a big city like that.
Yeah, I love street course racing just in general. It's the same reason why you have the same excitement with the Clash. You bring in the party to the people. You're not asking people to come to you, you're coming to them, and you get a great walk-up crowd and people who are kind of wide-eyed because they don't really realize what we get to do every week. And it's not too often that you get to not only see cars going, over 160, 180 miles an hour, but for the locals, that's going 160, 180 miles an hour on streets that they're very familiar with. So I think that actually adds some relevancy that, you wouldn't get any people that live in St. Louis don't exactly know what it feels like to drive at this racetrack. So I've always loved street course racing. A lot of risk in generating lap time, so you certainly have to be on your game, which I really love, and the aggressive style of the driving that you have to do. And past that, the circuit is, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is actually quite wide. I know from perspective, my competitors probably won't feel the same way because most of them probably have never been on a street course. But if you watch, even some of the laps that have been run at Detroit this weekend in the IndyCar stuff, and a lot of the other street courses I've been on, there's some pretty narrow sections. So I think that kind of just is across the board when you're street course racing.
Do you feel, I'm kind of doing a story on the waiver policy that NASCAR has. Obviously, we've seen a lot this year for injuries in the car, injuries outside the car, illness, sickness, all that stuff. So, in your view, do you feel like NASCAR's got it right with their waiver policy, or do you feel like they're a bit too lenient with it?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't even know what the rule is. I feel like everybody learns what the rules are on that after it becomes relevant to them. So I guess I've been fortunate enough to not have myself in the position where I need to ask for a waiver. But not even something I've really even thought about. But it seems like somewhat of a technicality to kind of go through due to the nature of having to run all the races. So from that perspective, I don't think it's wrong. If you're a driver that intends to run all the races and not just a driver that comes in for a one-off and wins, I think that's what the waiver's there for. But hard to say because I can't say we've even read the rule.
Has NASCAR given you like a rule of what that's all about as far as like an overview, or?
It was just me sitting here pontificating, which you asked me to pontificate, so I pontificated.
All right, Austin. The last few weeks have been a bit of a struggle, a lot of wrecks and
we've had 3 points races and I've gotten in a wreck in all 3 of them. It hasn't been like super fun. So
yeah. First off, wreck wise, have the changes to this next gen car actually worked in making these hits less god awful for you?
I feel like there's areas in the car that are certainly in need of improvement. We saw that at Talladega, and some of the changes they made in the off season. I feel like personally I have yet to experience too many rear impacts since the middle part of last year. So probably not the greatest data point on that, but the fact that we're all pushing in the same direction, I think, is what's important.
All right. We got your starting temp. We got a flat track here, more or less. I mean, how is the flat track program right now at Penske?
Well, I think this racetrack's similar to Phoenix, to where you got one really banked end in turn 1 and 2, and a flat corner in 3 and 4. So, Loudon's probably your flattest, most consistent racetrack. I think 3 and 4 relates to that as well. So, obviously, a strong track for us here last year. Joey won in the race and had a front row start and ran inside the top 10 all day. And obviously, all 3 of our cars in the top 10. Strong start. But yeah, I think tomorrow, the racetrack's subject to change a lot, depending on what happens in the truck race. So, looking forward to reacting and trying to make the most of it.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Hey everyone, Zane Smith, driver number 38 Ford for Front Row Motorsports. Be sure to subscribe to Frontstretch on YouTube.